Started, call to order. We have four of us here. That does establish a quorum. So we need, hopefully you've had time. Thank you for typing up, Michelle, those minutes from our last meeting. I can't remember how many pages, but I think you did a great job.
Michelle doesn't have any fingernails left, did you notice that?
Our hands were all cramped up after that.
I'm sure.
Just don't speak over each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will do a better job.
Take turns.
That was difficult.
We will do a better job of that. I will entertain a motion of any changes or amendments or approval of the last minutes from July 1st.
I read the minutes and I approve that they be approved as written.
All right, we have a motion to approve as written.
May I put an amendment in there?
Yep.
I would like to add in the minutes that I was a no.
Oh, we can't since you weren't present.
Okay.
No.
No,
All right,
because
then I
that
just-
changes.
Yeah, well, it's already a no.
Yeah, we can't add a
Okay,
vote
so
wasn't there.
I second it.
All right, so we have, all those in favor
Do you
of
second it?
approving.
She can't.
We have a second.
Yes, you can.
Can
Yep.
you second it? Okay.
Yes.
All those in favor?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Unanimous. All right. We have no old business. The new business today, we have 2024-17 city-initiated rezoning. From at 2nd Avenue, Santa Fe, and this is rezoning from residential multifamily to R1 or to high-density single-family residential.
In English.
We're gonna get to what all of that means in just a minute. That's just the formality of it. I think the staff have a report, and we'll take that now.
Yep, so thank you. As you said, this is a city-initiated request to rezone the properties at about 2nd and Santa Fe. They're outlined in the yellow there, from RMF, which is residential multifamily, to R16, which is high-density single-family residential. As you all are aware, in recent years, we've had a number of rezoning and special use permit requests for properties that are occupied by existing non-conforming uses. Those requests typically come from folks who are wanting to refinance or sell or add on or something to their home. So if a structure is considered existing non-conforming, they cannot do those things without getting a special use permit or a rezoning or some sort of variance. So there's something that we've noticed has changed with the lending laws in recent years that has especially become burdensome for property owners if their property is existing non-conforming, that they're not able to get financing either when they purchase or want to refinance. If the city cannot give a letter stating that they could rebuild as is in the event that the property was destroyed. So, in an effort to further facilitate the bringing of these non-conforming properties into conformance without any burden to the property owners, since they have done nothing to change the situation, staff has been looking at ways to do that. So one of those ways is to have a city-initiated rezoning. So as you'll recall, at our June meeting, the Planning Commission did take a look at this area and provide a consensus for us to move forward with that. So state statute does grant the authority to municipalities to initiate a rezoning process for privately owned properties. The area that we've identified consists of an existing neighborhood that has 15 individual properties, all developed currently with single-family homes. The entire area is zoned RMF, residential multifamily. And I'll turn on the zoning just so you can see. So the green hatched area is that multifamily zoning. The yellow is single-family zoning. So again, every one of the 15 properties in here that is zoned multifamily is occupied by an existing single-family home. Our development regulations do not allow for single-family homes in the RMF zoning district, either with a special use permit, anything. So property owners here could not even get any sort of variance or special use permit to make their property conforming. they would need to rezone it on their own. So, again, it includes 15 properties. They all, again, have single-family homes. We carved out a little bit, like there's one notched out here. There's some existing duplexes in the area that are conforming, so we don't want to change anything for those folks since they are currently conforming with the way things are. So I listed out the addresses in here that are affected. So then to move on to the conditions of determination. The first is the character of the neighborhood. So as I said, the subject properties are located east of 2nd Street between Santa Fe and Sheridan. The area is occupied by existing single-family homes with a mix of single-family and two-family homes to the north, south, and west. To the east, across the creek and wooded area, are the State Street apartments. To the east, over there you can see that. The second consideration is the zoning and uses of the properties nearby. I'll turn the zoning back on. So the property to the north is zoned R16, that's the yellow, and it's occupied by two-family homes or duplexes. So those would be considered an existing non-conforming use. Those are not included in this rezoning request. The property to the south is zoned RMF and is occupied by some more two-family homes or duplexes, so those are conforming. Properties to the west are zoned R16 and are occupied by a mix of single-family and two-family homes. And then the properties, again, to the east are zoned RMF and are occupied by State Street apartments, and there's a single-family home over there as well. The third is the suitability of the subject property for the uses to which it's been restricted. As we said, the subject properties have always been occupied by single-family homes. There have been no plans, either by individual property owners or by the city, to demolish or convert the existing homes into multifamily housing. The next is the extent to which removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby property. The proposed rezoning would have no detrimental effect on surrounding properties or upon the subject properties. There's no proposed change in the use of the properties. They will continue to function as single-family homes. The proposed rezoning will bring the existing structures into conformance with the adopted development regulations and allow homeowners to modify, expand, sell, or refinance their single-family homes without the need to obtain some sort of variance or to rezone the property on their own. The next is the length of time that the subject property has remained vacant as zoned. Again, the properties are not vacant, they're all developed with single-family homes. The next is the relative gain to economic development, public health, safety, and welfare by the reduction of the value of the landowner's property as compared to the hardship imposed by such reduction upon the individual landowner. The proposed rezoning will not affect the landowners or the value of the landowner's properties. The properties are currently classified and taxed as single-family residential units. That classification is done by the county appraiser's office, not by the city, and that will not be impacted by the rezoning. The next is the recommendation of staff. Staff does recommend approval of the rezoning request. The next is the conformance of the requested change to the adopted or recognized comprehensive land use plan. The area is identified as appropriate for single-family uses. That's the brown shaded area. That's what's identified as appropriate for single-family in our comprehensive plan. And then the next is just any other factors that may be relevant, and there are no other factors that we would note. So after we sent the required public notices, and just to kind of let everybody know, with a owner-initiated rezoning, statute requires us to send notices to properties within a 200-foot radius. With a city-initiated rezoning, statute just requires us to send notice to the affected property owners. So we sent notices to these 15 affected property owners. After we sent those, our office received 4 inquiries from individuals, just sort of asking what was going on. Understandably, if you get a letter from the city saying we're looking at rezoning your property, that could be a little concerning. So after we talked to those 4 individuals, they understood what it was, and there were no complaints or comments that we received after talking to those folks. And then I would also just note that as we started kind of looking for areas that we could maybe do a city-initiated zoning with, this area came up because we had had a request from one of the individuals who lives in this neighborhood that's one of these addresses. She was looking to refinance her home and could not get that refinancing done because, again, we could not provide a letter to the financial institution stating that it could be rebuilt as is if it were destroyed by natural causes.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, I can answer those for you.
All right. Do we have any questions for the staff?
I do.
Go ahead.
It was probably just a clarification. Did you say you sent letters to 200 feet radius or you did in what
No,
was the
we did
reason
not,
for
no,
that?
so with a city-initiated rezoning statute just tells us that we have to send the notices to the affected property owners. Whereas with an owner-initiated rezoning, we send it to the 200-foot
Okay,
radius.
I was
So
just,
it's-
I need
it's-
clarification.
Yeah, just a little bit of a difference in the way the state statute is written.
Yeah. I have a question because.
Yeah.
So in a residential multifamily, you can't build, you're not supposed to build a single-family home, is that correct?
Correct, single-family homes are not allowed either by
So
right
So it's
or with
like a
special use.
restricted use as single-family only.
What's that?
So the R16 is restricted single-family only.
Correct.
You might clarify that, like, those two again, for me.
So the R16 zoning district does not allow multifamily and vice versa. The RMF zoning district, which this is currently zoned, does not allow single-family homes. So that's the purpose of having different.
Mismatch.
And the R16 does not allow for duplexes for the RMF, or, yeah.
Correct. In
And-
R16, you could apply for a special use permit to have a two-family home. But in the RMF zoning district, you cannot apply for a special use permit to have a single-family home.
Okay, in the R16, so how does, you have to get a special use permit, and will the lenders allow, since it has a special use permit, to be refinanced or a case of disaster built?
We can't do them preemptively,
No,
so.
I'm not saying that. I mean, if somebody comes in, asks to, put a duplex in there, then if something happens to their duplex, you feel that the lender, since it's zoned right, but it has a special use permit.
Then it would be conforming, so we
Okay.
could say that it could be rebuilt.
Okay, that was my
Due
question.
to natural causes or.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because it would be conforming if it was existing under a
Okay.
special use permit.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Other questions?
Well, I'm just hung up on the rebuild as is, as natural causes. Is that like, at the time of what the construction is warranting? Do you get what I'm getting at?
I'm honestly not sure how the lending laws are, that's just
Okay.
what we've been finding from folks, and, obviously with every property that's sold or purchased or refinanced, we don't get a zoning verification letter for every single property. Of the ones that we do get, if we cannot provide that letter stating that it could be rebuilt, so there's a single family home, one of these, and they were trying to sell it or refinance, and they needed a letter for their lending institution. I could not provide a letter stating that it's conforming and could be rebuilt.
The reason I
Maybe-
ask that is just, I live in a historical home and I had a difficult time getting my lender insurance to say, hey, we can rebuild this. Well, obviously, they're not gonna be able to rebuild it as 1875.
Yeah.
But we can rebuild it to the standards of today.
Yes.
So that's where I kind of am like trying to.
Yeah,
get
so
some-
it's, and I'm not sure what it is with the lending institutions, so it's something, if it's the use of the property, if the existing use is non-conforming and could not be replaced, that's where folks are running into the
But
problems.
that's the ultimate thing that we're dealing with here. It's a state law that the use of the property must match the zoning for that
Yes.
use of the property. Right now, it doesn't match.
Yeah.
This would make it match to conform with state.
Yeah,
To answer your question, as being a former lender, you get your insurance company, our house was built in 1912, which is not quite as old as yours, but we have our lender, we borrowed, they didn't have any problem, but we have a cost of reconstruction new, not not what it is today, but what it was to put it back to its actual use. The insurance is a little higher, but they will insure you for that. Just-
Additional rider.
Interesting to know, yeah, we can talk offline
Yeah.
on that. But back to this, Brian, so it's RMF right now,
Right.
and they want a R16.
Yes,
yeah.
to make it match
Yes.
what,
Okay, that's
what
the
prop-
matching.
Yes,
Okay.
to make the
Yes.
property and the zoning match. Right now, it doesn't
Correct.
match because
Okay.
these are not, this is not a neighborhood of duplexes.
Right,
It's
so-
a neighborhood of houses, and so this rezoning saves the property owners $350 and a couple of months of heartache of having to come before this commission and wait for the city commission to vote on something that just
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, not only that, but if it was denied, a
Right.
huge heartache down the
Yeah.
road.
Right, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So this just simplifies the process for these 15 houses. We'll open to public, we'll open the public hearing here in a minute if there are
I
people
just have,
that.
why wouldn't this just flow into the natural course of things? Why, you know how
Well, so
sometimes
this
people
is,
don't
so
have to.
this was something that we noticed more and more and more, that people were having to come before this commission for a simple rezoning that we look at and we say, oh, it's a duplex, it should be zoned as a duplex. Why does it have to go through all of this government red tape to get what needs to happen? So the city put together a plan that, hey, when we do the 200-foot radius and we look at the properties, if we see a bunch of properties that are not categorized correctly, why don't we just save the people some money and use the city resources to say, hey, this block here is not zoned properly. Let's put it in front of the commission, get all of those changed over so that if any of those 15 people want to sell tomorrow, they wouldn't have to start this process.
Absolutely, but to piggyback on that, there are times when we don't even have to vote on it. It's, you know what I'm talking about, like it's in
We
the
have to
minutes.
have,
Like, sometimes it's like, oh, these properties need a special permit, we don't need to vote on them, they're just in the minutes. That's what I was just trying to
I'm not
distinguish
sure,
through.
a special use permit always has to be voted on. So
Maybe it's
I'm not-
like some kind of zoning or something that I've,
Any sort of zoning change would have to come before this board and the city commission.
because everything that has come,
could be permits, could be something that sometimes we're like, oh, here's a list of properties, we don't need to vote on these, we've already, the office is taking care of them. What
I think
is
you may be
that?
thinking of the preservation commission.
Maybe so, maybe,
Yeah, that has nothing to do with zoning.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
It's a different
okay,
ballgame.
any,
No worries.
any other,
And so
Only
just to kind of, like as a visual, again, this is all the green hatched area is the multifamily. So should this rezoning be approved, it would turn this area to the yellow. So zoom out just a little bit. I mean, all this residential neighborhood.
to match the other.
It will be yellow, and so this area here with the single family homes will be yellow and match all the rest of the
Did you
neighborhoods.
have anybody against it?
Well, we're gonna open.
Yeah, again, so we had 4 individuals call to ask questions about it. After we explained it, nobody had any complaints or concerns that they communicated.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you did.
Yeah, we had not received any. no.
Okay, thank you.
Now, this is just the south side of Santa Fe,
Correct.
and not the north side, because the north side's got duplex.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And the north side's already zoned R16.
Right.
With special use permits for the duplexes or?
No, there's no special use, it's not included in this request.
Oh, I
They're
understand.
existing non-conforming as
Yeah,
well.
that's
Yeah.
right.
But you can't cast the.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Net
have.
too
yeah.
wide.
No, I understand.
All right. Question satisfied? Okay, we'll open the public hearing. If there are people that need to speak about this, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address so that we have that. Oh, write them down on that piece of paper, please. And then state it into the microphone. 2 to 3 minutes, and it should be about this agenda item, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Sylvia Arvizu. My husband and I live on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Sheridan.
Okay.
You probably drive by it, we're the only house with solar panels on the top of the roof. Okay, so
Great.
you can identify that house. My question is, I understand what you're trying to do, but my concern is the change in the zoning. And I want us to be clear, what are the limitations that are imposed on us as homeowners once it's changed, once the zoning gets changed? I noticed, I mean, I don't have a big lot, my lot isn't real huge, but there's a couple of lots there that could potentially be built on already a house that's existing there. And they can choose to build another house on there or an apartment.
So
what are the
let me-
limitations?
If I can, and the city can correct me. So as it's zoned right now, if one of those houses were to be destroyed, the owner of that property could put up a duplex or any other multi-family housing in that spot, even though it was a single-family dwelling right now. If this is approved and all of these get turned into what they should be in single-family home dwellings, then if any of these houses are lost, they can only be replaced with a single-family house, and you would not have a duplex or an apartment complex or anything else that was built there. So this is not from my perspective, this is not the government infringing on anybody to create any type of hardship. It's actually the reverse, that if any of these people had anything disaster-wise go on to their house, this action that we take tonight could help those homeowners and yourself rebuild and not have to go through some ridiculous government red tape to just get the zoning right so that you can rebuild your
Or
house.
get the note from the.
Yes.
Yeah, which is the biggest thing.
My question is limitations, once this zoning takes place. My neighbors are going, some of my neighbors are potentially some of those lots are pretty big, could potentially continue to build or build, let's say,
If that happens, they would
Okay,
have to
that's
come
not
back, they would have to come back to the zoning, because they'd have to divide up the lots, because they'd have to build a separate lot. Get a separate lot, get
That's
it,
not true.
No,
or they,
what would have to happen?
No.
So I think what she's asking is, how is this going to limit the
What's the
parameters?
limitation?
Yes, so the limitation would be that, only single-family homes could be built on any of these lots. A
Okay,
property owner could apply for a special use permit to build a 2-family dwelling, a duplex, but that's it, so that would be the limitation.
and that would guarantee that it would have to come through a body like this to get approved to put in a multifamily building in that space or in that neighborhood.
does that change the zoning for that particular lot?
no.
I don't understand your question.
It changes
In other
it
words,
from a multi to a single.
Yes, let me show you, this lot, see this lot is huge.
Yeah.
And he could potentially put a trailer back in
So,
there.
ma'am,
And-
what I'm saying is, as it's zoned right now, if that person who owned that wanted to start building apartment complexes, it would be zoned to be able to do that as it is right now.
As it is right now.
If it's changed to a single-family zoning, then only houses go there, and there are requirements within a single-family dwelling. I know we just changed the rules on how many outbuildings you can have and all of that.
Right, you can only have two.
Whatever those statutes are that come with a single-family dwelling zoning, those will be in place, but that's within the character of the neighborhood and all of that. Any other changes would require a special use permit.
So may I piggyback on that? So currently you're kind of wide open, they could do that right now and do multi.
Right, and.
But once if this gets approved to an R16, if I'm correct, then it's just a single family home. And they would have to come before us for a special permit to do multi. So it's kind of covering you to get this approved,
But
if
does
I'm
do those
understanding.
particular laws change back to?
No.
No.
They have to come back before the city
It won't
commission.
be, it won't be
It won't
changed
be.
back. It won't be changed back. We won't change the zoning. They have to come to us, get a special use permit, and we can either
Depends
accept
on
that
your
or
zoning.
deny it. If they wanna divide a lot, part of their lot, they have to get the divided lot to build another house, or they can build another house on their property to a certain
They could do that right
specs.
now.
Yeah.
This isn't passed.
But-
So like,
Right now they can, but afterwards.
They cannot.
Afterwards, they can build, if their lot's big enough, they can build another.
No.
so like
If
this
they
one,
divided,
You can
their-
only-
if they
if they
came,
divide
come
it.
and divided their lot, they can build another single-family home on their lot.
Only
Not
if
right
they
now.
come in for a special permit. Only if they come in for a special permit.
Okay.
You can only have
We can't
one
have
single
documents back here
family
because
home
I'm
on
not
a
gonna
single
get the recording in the minutes.
I think Marianne has
All right, hang on. Michelle's not gonna be able to get any of these minutes.
But the only way they can do that, if they go in and they divide the lot, if they got it, because we've divided some lots here to put in.
Yes,
two
but
lots.
that
If
would
they- But they
require.
have to come in here to get a lot divided, then they can build another single-family home, but not a duplex.
Okay.
They'd have to approve that. So with this, all that sits there right now is one house, and there's certain regulations that they can put an outbuilding on the rest of their property if it goes along with the zoning. Is that correct, Julie?
right now it's zoned multifamily.
No, I'm saying in the new zoning.
And so with
In
R
the new
16,
zoning.
it'd be single family zoning and it would, all the regulations that go with the single family zoning district. I think
There you go.
Marianne had a comment.
But I wasn't talking over people.
No, you were raising your hand.
I feel like part of what you were trying to ask is, and he touched on it, what happened on Limit. They had a very large lot, as you were saying, some of these houses do. And they had to come in, the notices were sent, as she said, those aren't just gonna go to your neighborhood. If somebody tried to do that, they said, I have this huge lot, I'd like to split it up, I'm gonna build 2 more houses here, and then they're all gonna be rentals. That's what happened, and it was a good thing, it's fine. But if you didn't want that, you in your neighborhood, and then that big radius would get a notification. You could come here and say, I don't want that, I don't want 2 more houses, it's terrible, this is why I don't want it. You'd have to have some pretty good reasons, but that wouldn't happen without your knowledge if you're the homeowner in that corner.
So right now, with this lot that, she was talking about, the 507 back there, yeah, that's a pretty big lot, it's 1.5 acres, there's a single family home, it's certainly big enough that they could, split it down the middle and sell that other half and build another single family
But
home.
that would still have
Except, they can't do that right now, because it's zoned multifamily, and they could not split that off and sell, and they couldn't put another single family home on this lot, that doesn't meet the definition of multifamily, that would be 2 single family homes on one lot, which still wouldn't be allowed by this zoning district.
Right.
But they will be able to split it with the
Correct. It should-
R16, and it'll be single family.
Correct.
Right, it'll split it.
They
yeah,
could do
in-
that.
in double.
That's correct.
Okay, state your name and your address,
Carla
please.
Herbert, I
Okay.
live at 517 Santa Fe with my husband Harold.
Okay,
We live in a single-family residence.
in this area?
Yes.
Okay.
We're on Santa Fe, so we have the duplexes across from us. All on my street is strictly single-family. When I read this letter, what confused me the most was it said multiple family resident, blah, 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 to high-density single-family resident. What is high-density single?
Yeah, so those are different categories so that we know what's rural, what's highly rural, what's in the city. And so that just means the lot sizes are,
There are only so
Not
many,
as big,
Allows for a little bit smaller lots.
yeah, so many lots,
more populated, more
No.
populated
Okay.
so many
density.
lots per acre.
no,
Type thing. So many lots per acre
Okay.
is what the divide is, so you can't,
so when a city plans neighborhoods and all of that, they have this amount of land and get separated into lots that fit the character of that neighborhood, right? So this only changes the name of the zoning, it does not change any.
Well, I was real surprised to hear that somebody was having trouble, because I've refinanced twice and had no
Sure,
troubles.
and that's not something that this is purely preventative, and if it helps people, it helps people, it's not gonna hurt anybody.
What's it gonna do to my taxes?
Like the city said, your taxes are
county.
done by the county, and that won't change no matter what we do with our zoning. The county assesses their properties and it's already properly assessed. This does not
Yeah, it's
change
based,
that.
the city or the county assesses the taxes based on the actual use, not how the city has it zoned.
Right.
So they're assessing it based on this being a single family home, they couldn't care less what the city has it zoned as.
Yeah.
So you're
That answer it.
I didn't catch your first name.
Carla Herbert.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Nicholas Rodriguez. Me and my wife live at 523 Santa Fe Street.
Okay.
We just moved in 2 months ago to
Welcome.
it. It's our first home.
Welcome.
So, yeah, so we got the new letter and we're kind of confused on everything.
Sure.
Because we just moved in. It's like, so are you guys trying to sell the property or anything? Just kind of some clarifications, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Between conforming and non-conforming, what does that mean?
Yeah, so conforming, it just means conforming to our regulations,
Okay.
non-conforming to our regulations, and really it doesn't come into play until something happens
Okay.
later on, or you pull a permit or whatever. So the action that we're talking about here would bring the properties into a conforming status. That way you can go about your business and everything is where it should be.
Okay. And
Liz, did you say you were at 521?
523.
Oh, I was gonna say, you're not on the list, but you
No,
are on the
523.
list.
He's my next door neighbor.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
on the, like, I think it was like for the use permits and stuff like that. So like, if I wanted to like do my fence now, I would have to get like a special permit? now?
Yeah,
How does that-
that's a permit, that doesn't go through us, that's the
Okay.
permit departments, and they have a process,
Okay. I
but
didn't know
the
if this
zoning
was-
doesn't,
Okay,
How high a fence has got to, did you say fence?
yes.
How high the fence has got to be and whether it's,
Yeah, that wouldn't be
That's
affected by
Right,
the
that's not-
zoning
that's
zoning or
ordinance.
anything, okay,
No,
yes.
zoning doesn't.
No, it's the
One of those
same-
things I was talking about
it's the
earlier.
same size of a fence.
Okay, yeah.
For
We lived in
residential.
apartments for 10 years, so I have no,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea.
No, and welcome to Leavenworth.
Yeah. I mean,
Welcome,
we've been here for
Yeah.
14 years now. so-
Welcome
Okay.
to home ownership.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, yeah, I just want to make sure on the zone permit. I mean, it sounds for everything for me, it sounds like you are trying to help us in the long run. So like when we bought our home, we didn't have like those zoning issues or
Yeah.
anything like that. So for us, this was just a big kind of,
Good.
what's going on?
Yeah, we had an influx of probably 3 or 4 months where that was the only thing that was coming in on the agenda were people that owned duplexes that needed to prove that they owned a duplex
Yeah.
in order to sell or whatever, and people were waiting 4 or 5 months to get on the agenda to come here. Well, they're losing the sale, and it's just something that, could just be quickly taken care of. So this is a proactive measure, and the city trying to save you $350, because that's what it costs to come here to ask for a special use permit and all of that.
Gotcha, yeah, because if you Google like what that means for stuff, you can go down a really bad rabbit hole.
Sure.
It shows like New York properties just lined up with houses, and it's just like, is that what's happening there? So it's just kind of a little bit of clarification. for
Yeah,
us.
and the city staff is always, within business hours, available and excellent resources. I highly recommend giving them a call before throwing things into Google. You never know. Never know what those gremlins are gonna give you.
Yeah, I do heating and cooling, so yes, I understand the Google.
There you go. Yes, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You might want to put that in the letter. That we
Don't Google?
No,
Oh.
you call, because I never even thought of that.
Yeah, we did, our contact information is on there and it says to please call with
Sure.
questions.
Yep. All right, any other public comment? we'll close the public hearing at this time. I will open it up to commissioners for discussion or entertain a motion. We have our regular 3 options. We can recommend approval, we can recommend denial, or we can table the issue for a specific reason, and we table it to another time.
So I don't really have any discussion. I'm gonna move forward with, I recommend approval of rezoning the request from RMF to R16 to the city commission.
All right, so we have a motion to recommend approval. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That's 4-0, unanimous.
Okay, and so this will go to the city commission for consideration on August 27th.
All right. And I said it the last time that we talked about this, but I appreciate the city's work on this proactive measure to kind of help us out. It is something that means a lot to me, having neighbors that have been affected on this, and after a tragedy, trying to work with special use permits and all of that, that's the last thing that you want to do, and drop $350. So I applaud the city staff for being on top of this and saving the citizens some money here. So, have anything else? No? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll do a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second. All right. In favor? Aye. All right, we're adjourned.
And we do have a meeting next month, and it'll be a week later because of Labor Day, but Michelle said